Hello, and thanks for joining. My name is Kyle Lejeski with EMC Corporation, and today we're going to be spending some time talking about EMC's XtremIO technology. I'll first start off with an analogy here, and I'll draw a bell curve that we oftentimes see in some of these overview presentations. And I ultimately want to liken this to the backup recovery space, which 3 to 5 years ago experienced a significant media shift. Customers were backing up to tape, and there was a profound desire for them to back up to disk. It was faster and it was more reliable. However, cost was ultimately a barrier. And we only saw a few customers who had high performance or high reliability needs make an immediate shift to a full disk-based backup strategy. In order to get the mainstream or the rest of the customer base to adopt the technology, we needed an innovation that offered what I'll call uncompromised data reduction. What uncompromised data reduction allowed is for customers to get off of tape at a low cost and really take advantage of this disk-based media reliability and performance. And it wasn't until that capability that it really became mainstream. During that process, there were 30 to literally 50 companies that were vying for a market position in this space. And in literally just probably 3 to 5 years, we saw that consolidate down to really maybe 3 or 4 true players, of which EMC holds a #1 market position at north of 65% market share with our data domain technology. Ultimately, it was data domain's ability to do uncompromised data reduction, which resulted in its ultimate dominance of this market space. That was the ability to do it with high performance, online, all the time, constantly having efficiency and performance at the right price point. We look at this space of the production data sets, and ultimately we're seeing a similar trend now with flash or solid state media being the disrupting media force. And again, we see probably 3 to 5 firms in this, 30 to 50 firms in this arena who are competing to figure out this uncompromised data reduction capability. And like backup to disk, in 3 to 5 years, I think we'll only see a small handful of vendors. And literally the short time since EMC GA'd our all-flash array product in November of 2013, which we call XtremIO, we have already placed ourselves in a #1 market leading position with 40 petabytes of XtremIO shipped in just a very short period of time. We believe it's our ability to do uncompromised data reduction that gives us this differentiator. So let's talk about that for a minute. We'll first start with the hardware design, which features a active-active dual controller brick as a foundational building block. In that brick, you'll find a multi-core CPU, an exorbitant amount of memory, literally over 512 gigabytes of cache, and either 10 terabytes or 20 terabytes of disk, which are comprised of enterprise multi-level flash or EMLC disk drives. This allows us to leverage the low-cost commodity nature of the Intel-based chips and mainstream disk, but its ability to do inherent scale out. So literally taking that active-active dual controller design and scaling them into multiple multi-level bricks that are interconnected through a super fast RDMA backplane is what essentially differentiates EMC's XtremIO from a majority of the competition today. In addition to our scale-out multi-brick with super fast backplane, we really now need to look at the data services, which ultimately differentiate this technology. First, I want to talk about how we do data protection because it's fundamentally different from traditional storage or traditional flash players who may be leveraging a dual controller only design without the ability to scale out multiple nodes. XDP essentially takes the performance of RAID 10, the efficiency of RAID 5, and the data protection of RAID 6 and puts it into a new RAID algorithm called RAID or XDP. This literally provides us a raw to usable ratio of north of 75% out of the gate. giving us 7.5 terabytes usable on the 10 terabyte brick and just about 15 terabytes usable on the 20 terabyte brick. This is ensuring the flash you buy is the flash you actually get to leverage. And the beauty of this is there really is no management. This is one of the simplest technologies in our entire portfolio and really in the market today. So there is no concept of LUNs or tiering or striping. You literally take the host groups, the storage groups, we pair those initiation groups, and we are done. It is that easy to get up and running. Very simple, very efficient. Now we layer on the other data services that we offer, which again, we offer under no compromise. What I mean by this is they never shut off. Many of our competitors in this space who are leveraging less efficient architectures have data services that stop at maybe, say, the array utilization of 50%, or maybe when the array gets busy. We guarantee that we will never shut these data services off. And in fact, we've put $1 million guarantee behind our no compromise data reduction or no compromise data services. Mainly, I want to highlight deduplication and compression. Deduplication is super efficient for those data sets that have obviously duplicate elements to their design. Take VMware or VDI, for example, which might have hundreds, if not thousands, of duplicate OS images. In this case, we're easily seeing 5 to 1, 8 to 1, in some cases 10 to 1 data reduction for virtual environments, both desktop and virtual server environments. Then we really start to look at the database environment like SQL or Oracle, where we take advantage of compression because, again, less duplicate data sets, but highly compressible data sets. And real world, we're seeing 5 to 1, some cases 3 to 1, in other cases almost 7 to 1 data reduction on SQL and Oracle database workloads. The last feature I want to talk about is our ability to do writable snapshots. So this essentially, I'll illustrate this as an example of taking a 5 terabyte production data set in which you might have a clone copy, a test copy, a backup copy, and maybe even a training copy. And this is an additional 5, 5, and 5 terabytes for a total data set of 20 terabytes. With writable snapshots, this is a perfect duplicate of the production environment. And all I'm saying is those saving is those incremental block level changes. If any changes are ever made to these copies in a backup environment, I'm going to get obviously 100 to 1 dedupe. In test and dev, I may get 99% or 98%, depending on the very, very minor change rate I might be doing to that development environment. Even high change rates are going to start to see block similarity back to the production data set. So literally with deduplication alone and the ability to leverage writable snapshots, I've taken a 5 terabyte up to 20 terabyte, I'm sorry, a 25 terabyte data set down to a 5 terabyte data set. Then I look at that 5 terabytes and I apply my compression algorithm at a conservative 2 to 1, and I can turn that 5 terabyte database, now into a 2.5 terabyte database, essentially shrinking my data requirements by literally 10 to 1 with XtremIO. So this ultimately gets back to this uncompromised data reduction. I can guarantee these are online all the time, never shutting off because the array is busy, because the array is 50% full, or because the array needs to do maybe even a system level garbage collect. As I read and write data to and from my flash drives, many competitors will go into what they call a garbage collector, freeing up open space in the system. Again, in our scenario, no compromise to the data deduplication. I hope you guys have learned a few things here on how this ultimately becomes financially attractive because I can save significant amounts of storage with little space. Operationally very, very efficient as it's simple and easy to use and manage, and ultimately technically superior as I start to look at these uncompromised data services. We kind of look at the trifecta: financially relevant, operationally efficient, and technologically superior, and I believe that we execute on all three of these elements with XtremIO. Hopefully this was educational. Please reach out to your EMC account executive for additional information on our XtremIO technology.